because we have two different fabrics, we're going to put one on top of the other. We're going to make sure that the two folded edges line up. So here I have a folded edge. I'm going to take my other piece of fabric and put its folded edge touching the other so that these two line up perfectly. Then I'm going to place them flat on the table, and I'm going to get ready to put my pattern pieces on. In cupboards 7 and 8, you will need the following two pieces. One says apron body piece, and the other is for the strap pattern. Now look at this pattern piece very, very carefully. This symbol says place on fold. We know that that means this whole edge then goes on a fold. So we need to make sure that this edge gets on our folded edges. One other thing we need to be aware of is when we put this on the edge, this is the top of our apron. If your fabric has a direction to it, you want to make sure that your direction is facing the top. So I've got a problem with this. I've put this so that the top edge is facing this way, but now all of my pattern of my hearts is upside down. So there's two ways to fix this. You can take your pattern and flip it over like this and put it on the edge, or take your fabric and flip it over so that the pattern and the top edge of your fabric are all going the same direction. So now I can take my pattern, place it on the edge, and now we can see that my hearts are all facing up towards the top of my apron. So this is where we're going to pin this one. The strap piece goes over on this edge. Make sure you don't get it too close to the edge where the selvage is, or you're going to get that white bar in your strap. So kind of move it closer towards your apron, but with enough room to cut around. So before we can cut, we need to pin this in place. So I'm going to take my pins and I'm going to pin right through the pattern piece and through both layers of fabric. I go down and then back up. Down, then back up. I'm going to work my way all the way around, keeping it nice and flat. You don't need very many, but you do need enough to keep it flat and secure. You also need to fold this edge where the fold is, and your pattern needs to be literally on the edge. You don't want it too far over or too far away. Okay, now I'm going to turn this so that I can reach the straps, and we're going to pin the straps before we cut. Try to get them nice and straight. You don't want them crooked, especially if you have a pattern. All right, a couple more and we're ready to cut. All right, when you're ready to cut out your patterns, you always use your shears. Never ever use the rotary cutter around pattern pieces. The rotary cutter is only for straight cuts. So we're going to use our shears and we're going to cut around this pattern. Now remember, do not cut this edge. Never cut this folded edge, but we are going to cut across the top and around the curve and down the side. Try to keep your cuts as straight as you can. If they're not perfect, don't worry, but do take your time, go slow, and try to keep them straight. It will save you a lot of worry in the long run. I'm going to cut across the bottom. And try not to cut through the paper. If you accidentally do, we can tape it back together, but try to not cut on the paper. Okay, so this one's done. Now we're ready for our straps. Now the rest of this can go in the scrap bin, so we'll get rid of that. Then we can take the patterns off our fabric. And then we'll put the patterns back in the cupboard and we'll be ready to sew. Okay, so we'll put those away. Now we have on the fold the front of our apron, front and back. Now you have 4 pieces that were cut for your straps. You only need 3 of them. So what I would do is choose 2 that match to be your side straps and 1 that's different to be your neck strap. But you can choose whichever combination of the 3 that you would like. So I'm going to choose these 2 and this white one. Save this one in case you mess up. You might be able to kind of fix it later. So we're just going to save that and put it in our bin. At the end, if we don't use it, we can put it in the scrap bin. So now we're ready to go press our straps to get ready to sew them.